Today we're reading Safety Tips to Protest Fascism because it's very relevant for the people who are protesting right now. This zine is available for free download and reprinting right over there. Just follow the arrows. And if you want to support me and the artist doing this with our time, you can purchase one below so that I can eat and have a place to sleep at night. Our entire library is available again for free right over here. Without further ado, Safety Tips to Protest Fascism. Operational security concepts, packing ideas, legal cases, health risks, police responses, and more. And if we miss anything in this zine, feel free to put it in the comments. These only have so much space in them. I'm scared. That makes sense. It's scary to hit the streets for what you believe in. This zine will help share a few tips to keep you safer while you fight for your rights. Something to keep in mind is there's no 100% safe way to protest. All protests can end in arrest, violence, or worse, especially when against fascism. This zine is not encouraging any illegal activities, but please be aware that many people have been detained during lawful protests in U.S. history. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I've decided to go. Now what? Use this zine to help you answer these questions. Who am I going with, and how can I arrange transport together without leaving a paper trail? Who am I going to notify about where I'm going in case something bad happens? What am I going to wear to hide my identity and be comfortable on my feet for a long time? What supplies do I need to pack? And how am I going to leave the protest if things get too dangerous for me? Can I bring my phone? Leave your phone at home. If you want to take photos or videos, bring a digital camera. Do not share your location to social media if you want to avoid arrest. U.S. police are allowed to use equipment called cell site simulators that mimic cell towers and steal data. Law enforcement can use this data to track a person's movement and even force their browser to download malware for additional tracking. People often refer to this equipment by the brand name Stingray. They can also make placing real phone calls difficult. If you must bring your phone, turn it off and store it in a Faraday pouch. You can buy one of these pouches cheaply or make it easily. Look it up. Organizing transportation. It is critical to make detailed plans about how you get to and from the protest before you head out. Your goal should be to safely get in and out and leave as little trace behind as possible. Here are some tips. Pay in cash for tickets, taxis, etc., or park very far away and walk. Hide your keys, don't bring them with you. You can give them to a designated person along with other valuables who is not going to be at the protest to take custody of them and get them to you should anything happen or at the end of the protest. Consider stashing a bicycle. It's free, fast, and can fit in narrow spaces where cars can't follow. Consider that the conditions of a protest may change, and so must your exit strategy. Make exit plans for different locations. Supplies to pack. Pack light, but bring what you need to stay healthy and keep moving. Check the weather. Bring unlabeled water bottles with water for drinking, plus water for flushing tear gas out of eyes, and maybe a small towel to cover your mouth in case of tear gas or pepper spray. Non-perishable snacks like granola bars help keep your energy up and can help aid fellow protesters. Everything should go in your pockets or a plain black bag. A change of clothes can be helpful if you get hit by pepper spray or die. Umbrellas can be useful for the rain, as well as deflecting pepper spray, and it says rubber bullets here, but they shouldn't be your primary defense against rubber bullets. They're good for tear gas canisters because those are shot in like an arc, and rubber bullets are shot at very high speeds directly at you. You want to have a more sturdy shield wall to deflect rubber bullets. Keep that in mind. You can research the 2014 Hong Kong protests to learn how umbrellas protected tens of thousands of people. Again, from tear gas bombardments. It's not so effective against the rubber bullets. How to communicate. Make sure you aren't making plans over texts, emails, DMs, or other written communications that can be subpoenaed later. Always make plans in person or over a call. Stick with communication apps that have end-to-end encryption for better cybersecurity, like Signal for text and calls. You can also set the messages to disappear on these encrypted apps often, which is a valuable tool. Proton Mail for emails, Tor for internet browsing. Do not give your personal information to RSVP for any events. Give fake data if organizers require it. You don't want to just make a list for any investigators who happen to get that sort of information afterwards. For more cybersecurity tips, you can check out Cybersecurity and Christofascism, also available right here. Clothing to wear. Wear comfortable, loose-fitting clothing fit for being outside and shoes you can run in. Strip out or paint over logos, leave distinct gear at home. Companies may share your info with police to identify who bought their products. See Luigi Mangione's backpack maker, Peak Design. Many protesters opt for a basic all-black set of clothing bought with cash. People often add masks, scarves, helmets, etc. to obscure their faces. A crowd covering their face and all wearing black makes it harder to identify individuals. This is a leftist protest tactic called Black Bloc, created by NYC and German anarchist movements. Often protests will do just plain clothes. They'll ask you to wear like normal clothes. So you blend in with passerby rather than with just the protest itself. But you can check that with whatever organizers are putting together the protest you're going for. What if I get arrested? Decide if you want to avoid arrest or get arrested as a protest in and of itself, or if this is a protest where you're resisting the cops at every turn. Either way, do your research first. Look up previous protests in your area and study what happened. Find the names of the defense lawyers who represented the arrested protesters and are still practicing. Nationally, some lawyers specialize in protest law. Either write one of their numbers on your arm or give it to your emergency contact, whose number you should also write on your arm. If you have a lawyer and your emergency contact, both of those numbers should be written on your arm. If you've just got an emergency contact, make sure you write that number on your arm in Sharpie, and they can contact a lawyer for you should you get arrested. If you're low enough income, police will be required to connect you with a free public defender in the event of arrest and prosecution. Remember, say nothing to the police except I would like to talk to my lawyer. You do not have to share any information with them, and it's best you don't speak to them at all about anything. Police formations. Here are some of the common formations police use to control and shut down protests. Kettling is when officers surround a protest on both ends to trap people in the middle where they can be held, gassed, and arrested. When you see this happening, immediately flee to one of the multiple exits you planned before. There also might be an internal protest plan of a formation that you're supposed to form in response. Again, that's going to depend on who's organizing the protest and what the goals of the protest are. Police also do snatch squads, where they'll send small teams through the line to grab protesters and drag them back into their line and arrest them. Form a defensive barrier to deter snatchings. That can be locking arms, a bunch of people on the front lines locking arms together and making it harder to grab you. It can also be hiding behind a shield wall. For canines, dangle clothing scraps to distract dogs with a fake target. Don't look them in the eye, stand sideways to present a narrower target, and consider wearing protective padding. Dogs are legally protected, so be careful. Agitation. Police responses often escalate protests into riots. Check out this ProPublica analysis of 2020 Black Lives Matter protests versus cops video to learn how this happens. It's right there. Last but not least, be wary of agitators trying to fit in and looking to turn your peaceful protest into a violent one. For example, white nationalists, Boogaloo Boys, infiltrated Black Lives Matter protests all across the nation and tried to incite violence. Trust your gut about people, especially if no one can vouch for them. Leave if you feel unsafe. Facial recognition. Some states began using old anti-KKK laws to target mask protests in 2024. But even with the lawful masks, today's abundance of cameras and facial recognition software can make shielding your identity hard, so consider covering your face entirely with clothing or masks. Or at the very least, wearing anti-facial recognition makeup, aka CV Dazzle. That does make you really recognizable to the human eye, so keep that in mind. You can also wear anti-paparazzi clothing that reflects light in a very bright flash, or clothing designed to screw up AI program. Check out the clothing company Stealthwear and its creator, artist, / privacy activist Adam Harvey. State weapons. Familiarize yourself with the many weapons police can use on protests and how to stay safe, especially from rubber bullets, which are hard metal canisters invented by the British Army to shoot Northern Irish protesters. Blunt force weapons, truncheons, riot shields, vehicle bull bars have long been used to move or beat down protesters. Tear gas, a chemical irritant that causes pain to the eyes, nose, and mouth, difficulty breathing. There's also skunk. You just want to have ways to protect your eyes and airways. Protesting in DC. DC is a special place to protest. DC has the highest law enforcement officer to citizen ratio in the nation due to 40+ national and local law enforcement agencies being present. About 30% of the land in the district is federally owned, which may impact the criminal charges levied against arrested protesters, and media coverage of DC protests can be intense, and combined with high levels of video surveillance downtown, it can be easy to dox protesters. Face masks protect your identity and keep you and your fellow protesters safe from airborne viruses like COVID-19 and RSV. A protest safety win-win. If you can post flyers in your area, try wheat pasting. Write your emergency contacts number in permanent markers.